Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's Tips and Tricks webinar. Today's topic, as you can see, is on Checkpoint Pro. We're going to do an overview and update on this offering. Please use the Q&A chat if you have any questions. We'll make sure we answer those at the end of the presentation. Our presenters today are customer success managers from Canada, Morgan Revals and Katya Duhamel. Morgan, I believe you're presenting. What do you have for us today?
Thank you, Robert. Hi, guys. Thanks for joining today and giving us some time to talk about Checkpoint Pro support. I have a quick presentation to give you a high-level overview and talk about some of our newer features. And then we're actually going to dig into a live report where we'll give you some tips and tricks on how you can work through the report and how you can use some of our extra features to be successful when using Pro support. Okay, so historically, technical support in general has taken more of a reactive approach, with support teams really manually collecting logs and debugs after the fact, which leads to lengthy SRs and, in some cases, downtime. We needed a way to collaborate with our customers to speed up resolution time and to ultimately avoid downtime by catching issues in their infancy. With visibility and automation in mind, this led to the development of Checkpoint Pro. So today there are three main pillars of Pro. Really, firstly, with the daily monitoring being the actual foundation of the service. Essentially, we're monitoring the checkpoints 24 hours of the day so we can identify any key issues and actually notify you on them. There are two key methods of notification with Pro support, and one of the most important is our automatic ticket creation. We will deep dive into what's included in these tickets and how they're different from your regular tax tickets just in a couple of slides. But in a nutshell, we're automatically opening up a ticket for specific high severity issues and actually reaching out to you to work on those issues versus you having to call into support, create a ticket, symptom analyze, transfer files just to get started on working on that issue. Another way that we're able to notify you is via our professional diagnostics reports. And these reports are available in your Checkpoint User Center. These reports do refresh on a daily basis. They're actionable and they come with remediation. And they're easy to share within your team because they're going to be available to anyone that is listed within your User Center account contact. Now, before we talk a little bit more about the proactive service request, let's talk a little bit about the data sharing. So in order for Pro to function, you do have to share non-sensitive data with Checkpoint. It's important to really note that Pro was built as a lightweight tool to avoid performance impact, and we're really only going to be able to report on non-sensitive, non-private, non-user-based data. The report polling for this report does occur between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. your local device time. So we hope that will be a slower time within your environment. But if you do have devices under heavy load at that time, we do skip reporting to avoid any performance impacts within your environment. The list on the screen here gives you a more basic view of the types of metrics and some parameters that we're actually checking with Pro today. We're not limited to this list, but it does give you a good feel for what we're checking and what we're reporting on within the Pro report. You'll get a better feel for that when we dig into the demonstration report and take a look at some of the alarms. But this is always a good page to revert back to if you're wondering, what are we checking for? Now, proactive service requests are different from regular support tickets in the sense that when a proactive ticket is created, it automatically includes key device details to help us resolve the issue quicker without having to pull multiple files from you guys. Now, firstly, this ticket will include all of our gateway details, versions, hardware information. If it was a crash, maybe the process that crashed, and a list of all installed hotfixes. So we're better equipped to understand, for example, what hotfixes can we suggest that you install to fix that issue if we need to. We'll know what's compatible with your environment and be really a step ahead. If we do have a crash, we do have the stack trace automatically added. This will be viewable to you, but it will speed things up for the engineer that's assigned. It's going to give them that immediate link with R&D. They can run the stack trace and see if there's actually already a known fix for the issue that you're experiencing. Of course, this is really going to aid to ensure that we're not duplicating our support efforts, and we're really only taking a look at the information that's relevant to the issue that's at hand. Again, with in mind, just to ensure that we can speed up the resolution process for these tickets. Not to worry, we're not creating proactive tickets for every high severity alarm you might see within your Pro report, but we are creating tickets for issues that will require our assistance to resolve, and they can have a tendency to become critical if they're ignored. So today, mainly we're opening up proactive tickets for kernel crashes and top 50 core dumps. Those would be the key issues we're opening up tickets for. But you can expect to see things like hardware failures, for example. This example on the screen, we can see a hardware sensor out of bounds. Below that, we see a process FWM crash. Critical hotfix matching, and also ICA expiry notifications. If we let our ICA expire, we can have quite an uproot within the environment. So 6 months out from that expiry, we'll pop open a proactive case so that an engineer can get those renewal steps over to you in advance to ensure you don't have any issues with the renewal of that ICA. So mainly we're creating proactive tickets for kernel crashes, core dumps, but we're also creating tickets for hardware failures, critical hotfix matching, and ICA expiry notification. When a proactive ticket is open, you also see a note. So you have an example here, user space crash, FWM. We do have the timestamp, which will be provided to you in the ticket, and you can see very quickly that a service request was created automatically. There's a couple different triggers that will point you to knowing that a proactive ticket was created, along with an email that will come in. We did develop some new features recently to help provide our customers with an extra layer of notification. We just talked about proactive SRs and how we're not creating for every single high severity alarm in the Pro report. But we do understand that even a low severity alarm might be critical for a particular customer's environment. So we did develop the ability to receive email notifications on any alert in the Pro report. And we will talk about that in the next slide, just a little bit more in detail, where I can show you some examples of what these emails look like. Another feature, you can review your daily report in the Pro portal, which I always suggest when we get in there, that will really come full center. This Pro portal is more interactive. You can filter, you can click on SKs to review resolution articles, but if you would like to receive the Pro report in a couple different formats to your email inbox, you can do that as well. We do offer it in PDF, Excel, or JSON. Now the JSON file is a little bit more helpful. We do have a REST API, so if you'd like to test the JSON file before making an automatic connection, maybe with ServiceNow and Pro support, we can use those JSON files for that test. Otherwise, the PDF and the Excel are nice if you'd like to have that, without having to enter the report on a daily basis right in your email. We also offer weekly and monthly Tableau reports, which were created by Katya, who's on the call with us today. These help us analyze the trend of alerts over 3 weeks and over 3 months, and we'll take a look at some samples of that in just a few moments as well. Some really new features that were developed in the last couple of months were a Pro inventory export. This is available in the Pro report portal. We're going to be shooting over there at the end of the presentation, and I'll show you exactly how to get those inventory reports. And upgraded report filtering, so we can actually see some trends in the report portal and filter for exactly what we're looking for. So we'll be taking a look at that as well. Now, to start with item 1, the email notification. Like I said, we can opt to subscribe to any alert in our Pro report, but we do have some predefined rules to get you started. Maybe you just started using Pro support, or you're on this call and you'd like to test out the Pro support and go through an evaluation. You can start out with our preset rules. This here, the top example, is an example of Rule 1. Essentially, this email will send out if we have a new high severity alert that hasn't been seen in the past 2 weeks. This will just help you identify new high severity alarms so that you aren't consistently going through the report and reviewing alarms that maybe you already have a plan for or you've already discussed with your team. They're pretty informative. We've got here a short description of the alarm, the MAC address, and the host name that was affected. If we click into our report link here, we can search for more information or more alarms on this host name and actually get the remediation suggestion for the package dropped by Core-Excel QSize. This other example is an example of Rule 2, which is a new hardware alert that is high severity. We aren't actually creating proactive SRs for every single hardware alert. For example, we have some machines that have 2 PSUs, and there is in some cases where one is connected. We don't want to jump the gun. The box is still up, so we will send a note within ProSupport, and you actually can subscribe to receive an email notification as well, just to let you know that maybe power supply 2, maybe it's fallen out, or maybe you've chosen to not connect that, whatever it may be. We still want you to be notified on this, so hardware alerts for high severity that don't create tickets are very helpful. In this case, we have BIOS has invalid status. Again, our MAC affected our host name, and a direct link to our report. There's no sample of Rule 3 here, but they do all have the same format. Rule 3 is helpful if you're going through a refresh project, for example, or you have some contracts coming end of life. If you have a device that's going end of support, or you're running a version, for example, then you can subscribe to receive some email alerts on that. Even if you have a support contract coming up for expiry, we can subscribe you to be notified in your report as well, but also that extra layer of notification, the email notifications. Today, this is available. We are working on putting this in your portal so you can subscribe for yourself. But in the meantime, it was an important development. So we are taking care of subscribing to any email notifications today. I'll make sure that this slide deck gets out to the people who attended today so that you can revert back and take a look at this. We also have an SK about our new features that will walk you through how to subscribe to these, and I'll make sure that you receive that. But it's as quick as sending an email to contact_pro, and we'll let you know even the information that we will need from you to set up for these subscriptions. So send us an email and we can get you subscribed for these. Tableau trending, again, these are those nice reports that were created by CAPIA to help us analyze the trend. So the weekly alarm trend is the example I have on the screen here. And this will help highlight the trend overall. So here we can actually get a quick glance of what's going on in the environment as well. So how many machines reported, how many SRs were open, our total report use. And CAPIA did add an extra flag to let us know if we have any newly reporting devices this week as well. This is always historical, so you'll notice that we'll say last week or past 2 weeks when you're looking at these particular reports. In this example, we can see our top 10 alarms by severity last week, excluding, of course, the informational alarm. So you can see really quick what's our top high alarms, medium, and low. This is a really important page of the report because it deep dives into high priority alerts over the past 3 weeks in the weekly and over the past 3 months in our monthly. And it really can help us identify when a problem started and whether it's a one-off or something that needs to be handled quickly. For example, you can see here we've got our alarm and our host names affected. We have some BIOS has invalid status. I've blanked out these host names for the purpose of the presentation, but we'll just say host name 1 for an example. We can see that for 3 weeks, we have been having this alarm 7 days of the week. If we kind of jot down here, we have some packets dropped due to capacity, and packet loss may seem like a more severe situation for your environment, but we can also see really quickly by this report that the packet loss only occurred 1 day within 3 weeks. So it might actually be better to put the BIOS has invalid status on our front burner to ensure that this is resolved. It's occurring every single day for a 3-week period. This might just be a one-off, something we can still look into, but keep an eye on with these reports, but a one-off. Before we look at our report portal, which is probably the best part of the Pro presentation, we'll take a quick look at how you would configure ProSupport. So Pro configuration is actually pretty much built in, and it's done in 2 simple steps. So You can see on the screen here, step 1 is configure the devices to share data with Checkpoint. You will go into global properties for this, data access control, and select our 3 consent flags. Once you've selected those consent flags, you do need to push policies, and 24 hours later, we should start to get some data in our Pro report. If you're running under R8110, when you get into global properties, you'll actually want to click on internet access instead of data access control. Same thing, select the same consent flags and push policies. The second step is very administrative because it is setting the Pro contact. We set the Pro contact to ensure that if a practice ticket is open, for example, for a kernel crash, that you guys will be notified on that. The Pro contact will be the person that's notified, but we have a lot of customers that are using maybe distro emails that an entire team has access to, or maybe setting 1 to 3 Pro contacts. It's important to note that once you click on Manage Contacts, it will pull up all of your UC contacts. You can select the contacts, and maybe you have one of them out for vacation for 2 weeks of your summer. You can disable them as a contact for those 2 weeks and select someone else. So these are always able to be managed by you guys, and you can change the contact at any time. Okay. So looking at the report portal, just zoom in here a little bit, it's a little bit small. You'll want to log into the user center to access the Pro report. Your view looks a little bit different, but think the same place that you would go to access our support center. A couple down is Checkpoint Pro report. Once we click on that, if you're actually using Pro support today, you're going to see accounts covered by Pro, and that's where it's going to prompt you to set the Pro contact for the automatic ticketing. If you're not using Pro today, you will receive this page, but keep in mind that you can reach out to us to set a 60-day trial if you would really like to trial this service and see if it can provide value to your environment. Something else that I'll ensure that you guys receive as a follow-up to the call, I'll make sure that you have those details so that if you're interested in talking about a trial, I can set that up for you. For the purposes of today, I'm just going to use a demonstration report so that you guys can have a good feel for what this looks for. As soon as we enter the report, actually there is that flag at the top, new, get customized email alerts, trending reports, and more. This SK is actually going to walk you through exactly what our new features are that we just talked about in the presentation and how you would set up for them. When we enter a report, obviously we have our overview page. I'm just going to start with the share button here because we talked about a new feature being an inventory report available within the Pro portal. So if you click on the share button, you can export just your inventory within Pro. If you click on CSV-inventory only, it's actually going to export just the information that you see here, the MAC, host name, hardware type, SKU, key, account ID, configuration type, firewall version, and take. This will avoid you having to export the entire Pro report to CSV and get all of these different types of alarms, for example, in the demo report for 133 machines. This will just give you that inventory information. So maybe if you're working on a refresh project or you're upgrading versions from RID40 to RID1, or maybe upgrading all of your RID1 machines to the latest tape, you'll be able to pull what they're running currently to plan for that project. Also from the share button, you can copy a link to your report. So this means that you can copy this link and send it across to anyone within your user center account who can then pull up your Pro report without having to go through all of the different support to Checkpoint Pro report, clicking into all of the UCs. They can load, if you have 2 UCs that are relevant for your conversation, we can load the report for the 2 UCs and share that report to our team member, for example. Or maybe you want to load all 10 of your UCs that you're looking at, or maybe just one. It's just a really easy way to get that report over to someone else who has access to it. Now, if you'd like to share the report with someone who maybe doesn't have user center access but is authorized to view your Pro report, you can also export to CSV always. If it doesn't exceed the PDF size limit, it will be available, but if it exceeds the size limit, just know this is hundreds of pages, so not so nice to review, which is why it has been blanked out. You can change the date period. So just for the demo, I'm going to load a couple dates for you. So the 30th to the 2nd, for example. We did upgrade our filtering. So I'm going to give you kind of a sample of what that looks like today. In our alarms, we have a lot of information. We've got our alarm category, detection date, description date, remediation. In our remediation steps, good tip is that we have a lot of SKs linked to them. These SKs are clickable, so you can view what the resolution would take and better plan for it before maybe reaching out to TAC, or if you're working with a diamond engineer, reaching out to your diamond engineer to plan for a change or implement a fix based on an alarm in your pro report. It will also save you time if you have your security gateway dropping packets to the Core Excel queue size. We've got the SK right here. We'll pull it up. Right away, you're actually going to see that, the solution requires a reboot, and maybe we need a window for this, so you can be better prepped to resolve that. Updated our filtering recently, and this helps us also not only find direct hits for particular alarm triggers, but it also can help us search for trends. So we saw there was an alarm related to our Core Excel queue size. If we click in here, we can see that this particular machine had 37 alarms, and we filtered out 36 of them, just so that we didn't have to look through 36 other alarms just to find how many packets we lost yesterday due to the Core Excel queue size. So that's one way that our filtering can really assist you, especially if you've loaded multiple dates and you're looking for a trend. We only had one occurrence of these drops between the 30th and the 2nd, but if we go down here, you can see we actually had 3 days of drops, and they were decently heavy. So now we can see, the drops between the 30th and the 2nd, and you can quickly analyze these without having 43 other alarms routed between them. So that's how you can use our filtering. One more thing I just want to point out, because I know we need to leave some time for questions. You do have the ability to clean up your pro report as well. Here we can see that we had a user space crash on the following process, SMMPD. This is a general user space crash alert, and it didn't automatically open up a ticket because of that. We still have some good information here. Maybe we looked at this SNMP crash, and for the day, we want to just hide it. I don't suggest hiding for the day, but I do have customers asking about this, so I wanted to touch upon it. You can exclude the alarm when you're in your own account just for your own view. This way, you won't exclude this alarm from the entire team's view. They can still see that you had a user space crash, but it's annoying and you don't want to see it today. You're looking through a lot of alarms. We want to clean it up. Let's just hide it for that day. Now, if we scroll down here, we have some informational alerts, and we actually print our take information at the top now, as you saw. So maybe this is flooding your report. It's a bit too big, it's long, it's skewing your reviews. We don't need this anymore. We can go in here, hide, again, hide the alarm. When we're not in our demonstration mode, it's going to pull up the option for you to exclude this alarm for everyone's view as well. This would be a good one, a normal alarm, blaze disabled, maybe you're checking this somewhere else. I wouldn't suggest hiding technical alerts, of course, but things that are more informational that could be just flooding your view of the report. You can go in, hide for just your view, or hide for everyone, including even myself or Kasia or Robert that might be viewing your report. This alarm will not show up. It will be evident when you've applied an exclusion, because we'll always see this at the top of our report, and we actually have an exclusion management button. When we click in here, view exclusions, or up at the top, it will typically pull up a box with every exclusion applied and show you who applied it, which means that you can release these exclusions at any time. Okay. Now, Kasia, is there anything that you want to add to the demo, or anything that I maybe missed that might be helpful for these guys, or should we shoot over to questions?
Great.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Okay, guys. So, Robert, I'll give it back to you for some questions.
Absolutely. We got some for you here. First off, Kat, yeah, I had not seen those Tableau trending reports, so they look great. So good job there. How to enable, you already covered. performance impact on the gateway. Like you said, it's run between what, 1 and 3 a.m. to not impact the gateway, correct?
It's run
Or have-
between 1 and 4 a.m. local device time. And then if your machine is at 60% higher CPU at the time that we try to get the report from it, it will skip reporting to avoid any potential performance impact. I know I asked the guys, and Kathy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but when I had spoken with the CP Diag team, they said for a couple of seconds it can elevate the CPU for 5 to 10%. So if we're at 60%, we won't even try. Just so we don't elevate that any higher.
Can you configure the time of that report if they're, say a third-party organization and that's their heavy time?
Unfortunately not. We can't configure that. That's the polling time for all customers in their local time.
Okay. Let's see. Does this work with just physical gateways, or can public cloud gateways work also?
It works with some cloud gateways, but only if they are managed by our customers. Our cloud gateways that are managed by Checkpoint, of course, will not show up in the pro report.
Got it. So yeah, if people, yeah,
like I might be able to find one in the report, but the Azure gateways, for example, or
right, Azure
has one on the top of her head, but those Azure virtual cores, for example, will show up in your pro report.
Gotcha. Is this just for gateways, or would it give you any alerts on problems for like a management log server or smart event or something like that?
Yeah, it will absolutely give data on management and log servers. Just shared my screen quick here so you can see that it definitely reports on both the gateways and management and logs.
Okay. I'm just rolling through them here. Some you already answered, so I'm just trying to find new ones. I think you covered that. You have version specific. I mean, do you have to obviously be on a supported version, right, for this to work?
Yeah. Is it still anyone that's above 7730? I think it's actually, I mean, of course we don't support these versions, but I do believe that I even see 7730 machines reporting into our pro report.
Oh, okay.
So
that's good.
Not really version limiting when we go back that far.
Just got one. Do reports run local time for the gateways? We have gateways all over the world. So again. Well, she answered it online here. Reports are compiled during local device time. So that is always running in the middle of the night. So yes, it is the local device time.
Yes, that is correct.
And I think that covers it for questions. Please, you have another one, type it in quickly here. No, I think I got it. So thank you, Katya and Morgan. Like she said, you can get a trial of this, contact your sales team, contact Morgan or any of us directly. We'll make sure we get you set up. We will send up the follow-up email with any reference content and the recording session for this link. Our next webinar will be in 2 weeks. You'll see that invitation soon. So Morgan, Katya, again, thank you. And everyone else, thank you for joining, and we'll see you here next time. Enjoy your day.
Thanks,
Bye, all.
guys. Thanks, all.